So my name is Sina Davis. I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois, and I actually came here to start a new life for my daughter and myself.
Great. So you grew up in Chicago, Illinois.
Yes, I did.
Wow. What was that like? What's Chicago like?
Chicago is beautiful. I love Chicago. I love growing up in Chicago. I love, for my father, they used to take me to the White Sox Park, and I received the bat, the ball, the seat, and all those good things. So I wish I had some of those things today, but I don't. So I enjoy going to the lake. So I enjoy Chicago. Chicago has a beautiful skyline. Actually, we live not too far from the lake. So my dad used to take me up and let me look out the window. At that time, I didn't know what I was looking at. But as I got older, I said, oh, he was showing me the beautiful skyline of Chicago.
Wow. That's really cool. We have a really cool skyline in Pittsburgh. It's nowhere near as big as Chicago, but there's a place called Mount Washington that you go up on and you can look out over the city. It can be nostalgic or reflective and all of those things. So have you been back to Chicago since you've moved to Madison?
Yes. I go, well, before my daughter joined me here, because my daughter was in Chicago, I was going every 2 weeks. I don't go as much now. I will be going next week, the end of July, because I have my vacation coming up. So I'll be going through there.
Oh,
For
exciting.
a family reunion, actually, for the 1st of August. We have a family reunion the 1st of August, and then I'll go on my vacation with my daughter.
Well, that sounds really exciting to be able to go to a family reunion in your hometown. So do you have any knowledge of where your parents are from? Are they from Chicago or prior?
Yes, I have knowledge of where my parents are from. My mother's from Montgomery, Alabama.
Yes.
And my father is from Selma, Alabama.
Wow, that's interesting because my grandfather is from Selma, Alabama. And that's all I know. He had some brothers and sisters, but I don't really know them. He came up here, I think. I feel like he came up by himself, but when I go on Ancestry.com, there's a couple Edward Cokers that were 2 years old that moved up here to, I'm still trying to figure it out. But I know my grandpa's from Alabama, but he's passed on, so.
Well, I know my father, my grandfather, my great-grandfather. So
They were
I
all.
know the history.
Tell me.
Well, my mother shared with me that her father told her many years before the first plane was actually invented, that there would be something in the air flying. So that was the history she told me. Then her father told her if there ever was a war, to go far out in the woods in the country as you can because they're going to hit the city first.
So
I remember going south, sitting in my grandfather's lap, watching him on the horses. I remember sitting by the fireplace.
So did he own a ranch?
No, my grandfather had his own land. He had a barn back there with horses. My grandmother had chickens. My grandfather built their house that they lived in and also told my mother that they never had to work if they didn't want to in the field, like other children may have had to work. They had that option.
That's wonderful. It's interesting that you say that. My grandfather, who's from Alabama, he also built his own house in Elizabeth, Pennsylvania himself. They didn't have indoor plumbing, but he still built it. So, and my dad used to always tell me stories that they had to go to the bathroom and then dig a hole in the yard and cover it up and such.
Well,
a lot.
I don't remember outdoor at my grandmother's house, but I do have aunts that they had outdoor where we actually went and we did the outhouse. We pumped the water. We brought the buckets in to bathe in, and those were some of the best times of my life.
Wow. Yeah.
Because going from the city to the south and learning the taste of milk, pure milk from the cow, butter and things like that. So learning how people in the south were raised and how they survived and how they ate their livestock. Those are great things.
Spiritually, would you say that there's, how do you feel when you're in the South? Like in those nostalgic memories? How do
Oh,
you
I feel great. I love it. I can when we're traveling there, because we traveled by car a lot. That I remember some bus, Greyhound, of course, but I remember just smelling the air. I was like, yeah, I'm getting south. I can smell the dirt. I can smell the air. It's just so much fresher. It's just a totally different scent.
Wow. And if you could give me an example of one of your fondest memories in the South with your grandmother or grandfather, what would it be?
The first time walking into their house, the greeting that you got, the atmosphere.
So Southern hospitality.
Yeah, I felt at home. I felt good.
That's good. Wow, that's really interesting. Okay, so you moved to Madison. If you could put like a year around it, around what year?
I moved 2000. I actually came here February 2008. February the 28th, 2008 to be exact.
Wow. And so where did you move when you came to Madison?
Well, what happened was I still had my place in Chicago. I came here to visit my grandchildren's mother. And because I was struggling with my addiction, I didn't want to go back because I found myself drowning. And I felt here, I felt comfortable, and I didn't want to go back to the lifestyle that I came from. So with that said, I stayed here because I saw an opportunity to start over. I liked Madison because it was a circle. It wasn't like I can get lost. Actually, the first time I came here, my son had got into an incident, and he had got hurt, and he was in a coma.
Wow.
So what I did was, I came here and I stayed with one of the girls he was talking to, and I learned Madison was a circle, and I learned about the university and what great doctors they had there, and I actually applied for a job there, which they called me to come. Then I found housing for disability because I felt he may have been like really handicapped, and I may have to take care of him the rest of his life. So I was willing and ready to settle if I had to, but things worked out. He came out the coma, and I didn't have to do all those things. So again, I came back in 2008. I was still struggling with my addiction, so I stayed a while to bond with my grandkids' mother. That was originally planned, because my son was incarcerated, so I was going to come there and do that. So, you want to know more? I stayed at the Single Women's Shelter. Stayed there, and then I went on to Transitional Living, which is Holly House, which is a great place to get your priorities in order. And my sister had temporary custody of my daughter. And I went into stabilized living and on to independent living. So that's my transitioning.
And how did Allied Community Cooperative become a part of that story?
How did the co-op, well, after coming here and my grandkids' mother having a connection with Allied Drive, I started going to Joining Forces for Families.
Oh, one thing.